Comic books and books. This week we have, for decades, this guy's appearance in the world that he lives. I'm trying to keep it vague for the intro. In the world that he exists was kind of the catalyst for a lot of things. Well, we're getting a reboot, a rewrite, retcon, if you will. We also have a legendary artist going from one of the big two over to the other. It's kind of a big deal because he's been writing for the first one for a long time. And then there's some behind the scenes drama for a Legacy-quel comic book series. It's going to be continuing the story of a famous 90s animated series, but the original creator of said 90s animated series is not going to be part of it. There's a lot here. We actually have a decent sized comic book section, so let's get to this. Hello, nerds. Welcome to the Clips channel. This is a clip, as if the channel name was not specific enough. This clip specifically comes from a show that I do over on the main channel called The Week in Nerddom. We are going to be talking about comic books and books very specifically in this clip. So news from the last week that has to do with everything comic books and books. Generally more on the comic book side because the books side of things is kind of a little bit more slow going when it comes to nerdy content, but we do still cover it. So that being said, I appreciate you joining me. Let's get into the news. All right, so before we get any more further, or however far along we are, I just have to take a moment and we're going to talk about DUBBY real quick. This is the only one I have here in the studio right now, but I do have the s'mores in my kitchen, and I finally came, and I can 100% certify that it's yummy. It's a little dangerous. It is just as much caffeine as every other DUBBY that you get in the caffeinated Dubbies anyway, because they do dehydrated doo-doo. They also do the hydration drinks, but the energy drinks, they all have about 250 milligrams caffeine. The s'mores is no different, so keep that in mind when you're mixing it with your milk instead of water. It's super yummy, so you can drink a lot, but maybe only have the one or two for the day. But it's legitimately hard to stop at one or two for the day, gotta be honest. Anyway, DUBBY has partnered with the channel. I'm super grateful for their contribution. You can check out the link in the description, or you can just go to dubby.gg and use code GenerallyNerdy at checkout, and you will get 10% off of your whole cart. That's everything in your cart. A lot of the specials that they run on the site are just for the energy drink tubs or the hydration tubs, but my discount gets you 10% off of everything in your cart. You can't stack discounts, but you got to kind of figure which one's going to get you the better deal. 10% is pretty good when you go on everything, because you're going to need a mixer bottle too. Like, why not? They're only like $8 or something. So yeah, pretty awesome. Go check out GG. Super appreciative for their support. Let's get back to the video. So we have no follow-ups, we have no trailers, we have no corrections, we just have regular ass news. This week in regular ass news, we've got a few things to talk about. First up, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to be specific. The current animated show that is the spin-off from the most recent animated movie is getting a prequel, well, a bridge comic, I guess you could say, because season 1's done, season 2's coming soonish, so they're putting out it's two separate books. There were conflicting reports on this, so I think somebody had a typo somewhere, but it sounds like it's going to be two separate books. Each of them are going to be 3-issue mini story arcs. So 6 issues of new comics telling 2 different stories between now and when season 2 launches. Written by Mike Levitt for one of the stories. The other story reportedly is going to be written by Andrew Joustra, maybe is how you say that last name. I apologize. There's going to be new characters that were created for this new series in the comic. Also, characters from other Ninja Turtle lore that aren't yet in the animated series are also going to be in the comic, presumably lending towards them happening in the animated series as well, which would be dope. But that is what we got on that. That's all we really know at this point. I honestly don't even think there was an official release date just yet. If there was, I didn't write it down. So if I can find it, I'll put it in the show notes. From there, we have kind of a big one when it comes to the rivalry, quote unquote, between Marvel and DC, because Marvel is losing one of their biggest artists in Steve McNiven. He's going to be joining Tom King on his new Batman book starting in 2026. McNiven is a staple in the Marvel world. He's been working with Marvel for about 24 years, if memory serves, and so this is huge. Even Rob Liefeld chimed in on this one on social media, said he's glad he abandoned that sinking ship when he did, because apparently this is just more a sign of the times for Marvel, because they're losing one of their greatest artists to DC. So yeah, the book, again, 2026. I don't have any more of a specific release date for that, but yeah, this apparently is the sign that Marvel is actually collapsing under its own weight. And I don't know, maybe it needs to do that. I mean, last time this happened to Marvel, we got the MCU, and that was a good thing for a long time, so maybe this is what we need to fix Marvel again. Who knows? From there, let's talk about this one's got me a little bit on the fence. We have a retcon over in DC, and that has to do specifically with Superman, because in the new James Gunn universe for the DCU, in the movies, that place, we have Superman coming on the scene, and he's coming into a world where superheroes already exist, metahumans, if you will, depending on which vocabulary you're using or how you differentiate between the two. Superman's coming into a world where superhumans and metahumans already exist. In the comics, that continuity is a little wonky, because for a while, in modern comics, let's be a little bit more specific, because you have the golden era, the silver era, all that stuff, continuities change. But in current continuity, there's no real definitive, like there's kind of a definitive line as to exactly how this happened, and it's by and large accepted that in the DC continuity, Superman was the first public superhero, and his going public is what caused other superheroes and villains and such to follow suit, to come out. He started the ball rolling, if you will. Though technically there were other metahuman types before him, they were operating in secret, except for a small handful of exceptions, and those handful of exceptions were supposedly wiped from existence when the Watchmen situation happened. I think that was the Doomsday Clock timeline that did that. I could be mistaken, but either way, it was the Watchmen who were supposedly like wiped the slate clean, and then we start fresh with Superman. And now they're changing that again in a book. It is titled, where is it? New History of the DC Universe is the name of this book. It is not an encyclopedia like I was originally thinking it was. If you're seeing a name like that, it kind of sounds like what they would name one of their encyclopedias. It is going to be encyclopedic information told through narrative. The narrative way they're doing it is the Flash, now that he's lost his powers because of the most recent absolute power arc, he is now documenting the history of the universe as far as he can dig it up. And so now that Wally West is the Flash and Barry Allen has no powers, this is his new role in the DCU until he gets his powers back, because we know Barry Allen is going to have his damn powers back. That's just how comic books work. So we're documenting it, and in this documentation we're learning that Superman is not necessarily the special one. Superman is just somebody who's coming on the scene, and he's going to be the new guy that tries the thing, and it changes the dynamic of who Superman is, but I don't think it's so fundamental a change to the core of the character that we really need to worry about it. I actually think this makes the continuity, much like they're attempting to do, this feels like it's going to make the continuity a little bit more continuous, a little bit more easy to follow, a little less comic booky. And that's not exactly a bad thing. Like, sometimes comic books are a little too convoluted and a little too high on themselves. And this is kind of leveling that out. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing per se. I just think it's kind of a neutral thing. Right? So let's move on. From there, we have, this is not a neutral thing. We have the Spider-Man 94 comic book is happening. This is much like there was an X-Men 97 comic before we got the X-Men 97 show. I don't think it was called X-Men 97, but it was the continuation of the animated series that is now no longer canon because the show happened, I think is how that played out. Again, comic book continuity just all over the place, right? So we have something like that for Spider-Man now. It's called Spider-Man 94. It is going to be written by, let me see if I can find his name in the notes, John Semper. Oh no, that's the other guy. Actually being written by, where the hell is it? There it is. Actual writer for the project is J.D. Matthias, and art from Jim Tao. So DeMatteis, or I know I'm not saying his name right either, I apologize. He is the one that wrote for us Kraven's Last Hunt, also the Clone Saga, so he is not unfamiliar with the world of Spider-Man, but he is not John Semper. John Semper is the guy who was the lead writer for the original Spider-Man animated series back in the day. And when questioned about this situation, Semper said that he was never even approached to join the writing cast. He's still actively working. He is still out there doing the thing. And for whatever reason, Marvel just like, we don't have to bring the original guy in. We got this other dude doing it. Which seems like a bit of a snub and seems kind of backhanded. And that's kind of the way that Semper's taking this too. He said that he long ago, this is a quote, long ago abandoned all expectation that Marvel would acknowledge any of my contributions to the Marvel Universe. Like, for instance, my creation of what is now known as the, quote, Spider-Verse. As debuted in 1998 during the first half of the series' two-part finale, Spider Wars, Chapter 1, I Really, Really Hate Clones. That's the name of the first episode where he introduced the language for Spider-Verse. This is the guy that did that, and they're not even acknowledging, they're not even letting him continue writing on the project in which he coined the phrase. So yeah, it's pretty messy. I don't think anything is gonna come of this, but if it does, we'll continue to follow, and let's move on. Next up on the list, we have Cyberpunk Edge Runners is getting a prequel comic. Sorry, the notes, I forgot. Prequel comic. This comic is called Edge Runners Madness. It is from Dark Horse. It will be launching February of 26, and it will be focusing on the character of Rebecca, who fans of the series, of the anime that's on Netflix, fans of the series just wanted more of this character. She didn't really do much until like the last two episodes, I'm pretty sure, at which point everyone was like, oh my god, she's kind of a badass. Can we get more of her, please? Well, now we are. It's just in a prequel comic, and it's called Edge Runners Madness. It's going to be out next month. There's a preview of it now in the manga in Japanese, but it's in Japanese, so good luck. But either way, in February. There you go. That, I believe, is everything we have for regular-ass news. So let's talk about our suggestion this week. Not talking comic book suggestion. We're talking about a book suggestion this week. And it's one that we've suggested before on the channel. It's just been, I think it's been about a year or two since we suggested it. But it's Hyperion by Dan Simmons. The elevator pitch for this book is as follows. It's the Canterbury Tales, but it's in space, and the pilgrims are being hunted by a godlike creature made of razors and pain. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, this book is a classic. If you've never read this, if you're unfamiliar with Dan Simmons, I believe there's a trilogy around Hyperion. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I've read 2 of the books. I have not read all of the books, so I think there's only 1 book that I'm missing, but I could be missing more. Either way, Hyperion is where it starts, and it's a great read. Like, I can't tell you a whole lot more without really kind of ruining things for you, but go check it out. It's really good. Hyperion, Dan Simmons, author. You can probably find it for cheap at a used bookstore because it's there and people don't understand how good it is, and now you do. Thank you very much, nerds, for tuning in. If you want to level up your nerdy, geeky, pop culture knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe and do all of the things. Go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy, for the larger portion. Again, you get all of these sections into one convenient video over on Generally Nerdy. The name of the show is The Week in Nerddom. Thank you for checking out this clip. We will see you next time. Before we go, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.